doing this the opposite way. Can you hear me now? I switched the way I am coming in, so now you can. Okay, so I'm not sure if it's just something on my laptop, but I'm going to quick plug in my microphone into my phone, so hopefully that will work better. Just bear with me. Don't mind a little bit of camera shake here. Okay, is that okay now? Awesome. All right, so let's get started here. Sorry about that, ladies. So if I look at my design here, my sample went to about here. So I'm going to just go about here, and all I'm going to do is draw my half circle for my center right there. Okay. And somebody's coming into the room. My sound is good now, they told me.
Oh, your mom just...
Yeah, it's better now. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So Darren just came in the room and said that my mom called, you couldn't hear me, but now I'm getting that I can hear you now, so we're good. Okay, so then what I want to do is start, and I'm going to start with this petal here, the first one. I'm going to put this on here for you to see. So basically all I did was go like this, and again, I want it coming off the canvas, so that's good. And then I'm just going to build on my petals. And this space right here will be background, and that's good. Nope, Mom, I appreciate that you told Darren to tell me. That's awesome. And then we'll make this one. And this one I want to kind of stay on the palette, on the canvas somewhat, which it's not going to, but that's okay. Okay. So that's going to be my basic template, if you could see it there with the lighting. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm going to start with the petals tonight. And I started my petals with a blue color. Now, with that being said, you could paint this any color you want, but what I used was, let me pull them out for you. I used a pale blue, a dark blue, a light pink, and it's called purple pansy. That's what I used for the flowers. So let's start with, I'm going to base coat our petals the pale blue. So I'm putting some blue on my palette. Put that back there. And I'm going to use a brush about 1 inch in size and wet it. And then all I'm going to start doing is start filling in my petals. And again, you want to make sure you get your sides. And I'm not going to worry about too much doing the texture of the flowers on the side, but just the base coat. Or if you wanted, you could use the darker color, whatever you're more comfortable with. And again, it's just the base coat. You want to just get a good foundation on there. So if you guys could just let me know where you're joining me from, I would appreciate that. If this is your first time joining me for our live, let me know. And if you could see tonight, I moved my camera angle so that instead of being on my right side, because I'm right-handed, I moved you on my left side so that you could see better. My mom's joining us from Freeland, Pennsylvania. Carrie's from Weatherly. I'm so glad. And this is Jossie Ray, first time from Georgia. Well, I'm so glad. I'm sorry, Joyce Ray from Georgia. I'm so glad that you're joining me. I'm excited to have you. All right. And again, don't worry about your pencil lines because as we build on the petals and on the center of the flower, you will not see it. They will be covered up. And I almost forgot to do the top of my canvas up here. All right, and if you ladies are enjoying these videos that I'm making for you, I would appreciate it if you would sprinkle the love. And for all my ocean people out there, I do have it's ocean related painting coming up on Saturday with our guest painter Victoria. So I'm super excited to do that. So make sure you join us. It'll be Saturday at 1:30 and that's Eastern time. And if you watch for my post on Friday night, you'll get a sneak peek of what that is that we'll be painting. Okay. And Kimmy's joining us from Bethany Beach, Delaware. So glad you ladies are on here tonight with me. Okay. All right. So now that we have our base coat on there, we're going to have to use the wonderful blow dryer. And if you missed my quick tip on Wednesday, you should go back and check out that video. It was about this little baby right here. Okay. All right, so next what we're going to do is we're going to start building on the flower petals. We're going to do the center last just because I don't want to wear it. And plus, what we'll do is with the center actually will come up into the petals like our sample. So that's why we do the petals first. Okay, so we are going to outline the petals with dark blue. Hey, Victoria, I'm so glad that you're joining us. And Linda said this, I can trust using a ruler. You're telling, well, I don't know, but thank you. I appreciate that. It's just practicing. I wouldn't consider myself a very good drawer. But I love to paint, and I don't know, it just works out for me in the painting. So I've been actually practicing drawing a little bit So I'm hoping to get better and better. So Victoria said her class ended. Well, that's cool, Victoria. Too bad they couldn't end a little bit earlier. You could have hopped on with me. But Saturday. So I'm using an angular brush for this, and I like using an angular brush for adding the outline to my petal flowers, what I call a type of shading with the flower petals. You can use a flat brush, something. Let me just grab one here to show you. If you were to use something like this, you would just use, just put paint on the angle and use it the same way. All right. So basically all I'm going to do is pick up my dark blue on the corner, and I'm not going to shade off this because technically that's only part of the flower. The other part is off the palette, or the canvas. So let's just come up in here. And basically what I want to do is just go back and forth, and you could see how it's gradually getting lighter into the lighter color. So now I'm going to want to outline all of these petals. And in this case, water is your friend. You don't want to have just straight paint on your brush, or you won't get that gradual shading difference. And you could see, this is why I said before, don't worry if you could see your pencil marks, because this process helps get rid of them. And I'm making my shading line pretty thick because of the fact that the petal's so big. And I will tell you, ladies that are beginners, don't give up on shading. Don't give up on this part. Keep practicing, because the more you practice, the easier it's going to get, and the more gradual it's going to look, and not like such a hard line. Kim's asking, so do you wet the brush, then dip it in the paint? Yes. Thanks, Victoria. Yes, you keep, every time I go back to paint, I'm dipping in the water and patting it dry on my thing. You could see here, if you see the little, because you need your brush wet for this technique. And that could be where you go wrong sometimes, is if you're not adding enough water, it could look more like just a line of dark blue and not a gradual shading. And I'm not sure how well you could see on the camera. I hope you could see how it's shaded down. So I'm just gonna, and here's the other thing, don't be afraid to turn your work when you're doing this, so that it makes your life easier. Okay. And again, I'm not going to worry about this side of the canvas shading or anything. I'm going to just leave that go. You certainly can. And I may go back after the video and do it so it's finished. But just for our time's sake, I'm not going to do that. So ladies, do you like painting flowers? Give me some hearts if you do. And you can see I put my arm in the thing. And I got the light blue paint on there, and that's okay. It'll be covered up with my, you see, I usually wear paint. I'm a very messy painter. So that's okay. My background will be covering that up and you won't see it. One ocean. I know, Victoria. I told the ladies I didn't tell them what we were painting on Saturday, but I did tell them that if they like the ocean type paintings, they will like Saturday's painting. And Carrie says, I'm not the best at those, but I'm going to try to do this one. I think I can do the bigger petals. Yeah, and big petals is going to, so it's not as detailed because the petals are bigger. So yeah, doing a bigger flower is definitely a little bit easier than when they're smaller in a smaller setting. So doing something like this definitely is easier for sure. So is anybody painting with me tonight? I'd love to know. Let me know below. I know sometimes, hey Patty, so glad that you're here tonight. I haven't seen you in a while. I know you were busy doing masks, so I'm glad you're able to join me tonight. Victoria likes the big petals too. Oh, no worries about being late, Patty. That's the best thing about Facebook Live is that you could always go back and rewatch. And even like, I think Carrie just said she's not painting tonight, she's going to paint on Saturday. Definitely, that's the best thing about these Facebook Lives. Oh, and just to let you ladies know, I'm not sure if you saw this or not, but I do have a YouTube channel where I upload all the videos to a YouTube channel, so you could go back, stop, rewind as well if that's easier for you to watch them. Hey Carla, you are painting tonight. I'm so glad. I can't wait to see your finished pictures. So that's just a side note, and I don't have everything uploaded. That's just something that I'm working on, but just to know that they are eventually going all on YouTube as well. Okay, so now that our shading part is done, now what we're going to want to do is add the color in. So if you look here, I have some pink and some purple. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our dark purple and we're going to pull it from the bottom of the petal. So we're going to pull it here. So again, this is called Purple Pansy, and like I said, you do not need to use the same colors. You could use any color that you want to make them. When I saw a couple of pictures of different flowers, I really enjoyed the this blue with the purple and the pink really stuck out to me. So I'm just going to grab a drink here. Bear with me. Okay. Seltzer water. I love seltzer water. Do you guys like seltzer water? I did not, but my husband is a big seltzer water drinker. And for some reason, since the whole quarantine thing, I'm hooked. I guess I'm just tired of drinking plain water. Okay, so this one, what I'm going to do is I am using a brush this size, and I am going to use a dry brush technique. So basically what that means is I'm not dipping my brush in water. I'm dipping it directly into the paint. Victoria said I joined the dark side. Yeah. So what I'm doing is taking my brush and putting it in there, and if you could see, I'm pulling it out and almost like I'm painting on my palette here just to take some of the dark paint out of it. And what I'm going to do is just go up like so. And you want to go with the contour of the flower. So if you could see here, I'm going on an angle. And again, don't be afraid to come down into your center because like I said before, that is going to be covered up with the top. Okay, and this is something that we're going to build on. So I'm going to move on to the next one, but I might come back after because we're going to just keep layering it and everything. So again, you're just doing the same thing, pulling your paint out of the puddle, getting it on your brush. And if you could see, you might be able to see the contour better. I'm going with the flower petal itself. Did anybody else say they were painting tonight besides Carla? I didn't see if anybody said. Let me see if I could see. Kimmy said she's looking forward to the beach scene on Saturday. I am sure you are. I should say beach theme. I don't think I saw anybody else painting. If you are, let me know again just because I didn't see. And you could see I'm just going back and forth. When I said the contour, I'm going with the shape of the petal. And that makes a big difference. If I was just doing straight lines, it would not look right. I'm contouring those side lines with the petal. So how's everybody doing? Let me know. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Okay. So now I want to go back in and make sure that I have some darker purple. So I'm using more paint than I did before, and you can see how I'm just starting to layer. And I'm doing this on the, you can look here, I'm doing it on the flat edge of the thing. Victoria says it's looking good. Colleen says she's enjoying my talent. Well, thank you. Colleen, are you painting tonight? No questions. Just I'm glad that you're enjoying it, Patty. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add in, I vote Edward as a guest. Well, Edward said he would paint with me, but not live. And then I could take a picture of him in his painting, but no live. Patty says, me too. Carrie wishes she had an endless supplies. Her and her daughters love to paint now. I agree. I love to paint. I actually like painting with Victoria. We paint a lot, and it's just so peaceful, such a great outlet. I when Victoria and her brother Edward were little, I did paint all the time. I would paint and I would make stuff and I would go to craft shows and sell them. And at that time, my mom worked. She still works at a nursing home or a senior living center. She did, and I would teach painting classes there. And then, as life would have it, my children get busy. My daughter was in dance, and my son was a baseball player. In fact, he still is. So life just got busy. So I stopped painting, and I don't know exactly how I started painting again, but then ever since then I'm hooked and I thought, you know what? If I like to paint, there's other people that do. And I know that, it could be overwhelming to figure out what to paint, what supplies should I need and everything. So that's where I decided to come up with the Thankful palette. And I think that no matter what we do, we should be thankful and everything. So the whole goal of my page is, to teach primarily ladies, but guys too, how to paint and to inspire you and to promote thankfulness. So that's just a little bit about the Thankful palette while we're here. Colleen says no, she will be on Saturday. She'll be back on track and watch video on this one. I think this can be a CB one. I'm not sure what you mean by CB one. Okay, so we're going to add the pink in, and I'm going to use the same type of brush, but I'm getting a new brush, and I'm going to do the dry technique again. Just going into I'm not sure if you could see that. Let me just rearrange here so you could see the palette a little bit. Right there, just again, pulling it in. And this time I'm going to work primarily to the top. And again, I'm pulling it down into the purple, but it's drier in the purple and there's less paint as it's coming into the purple. And don't freak out if you see how I just got what looked like a lot of paint up top. That's okay. All you do is go back and forth and you work the paint around and it all works out. And how I wanted my lines here, I want the lines of pink coming like this way. If you could see that, Victoria's loving these petals. Yes, and if you could notice, they're definitely a different color. I mean, I'm using the same colors, but they're not going to look the same. And that's the other thing. There's not too, you could get yourself and say, oh, look at her. She could paint. She knows what she's doing and she's so much better, blah, blah, blah. And it's not about being better. It's being about your own personal best. And your artwork is going to look different than my artwork. And there's tons more talented artists out there than me. It's just, this is my work. This is what I bring to the table. And we should never be afraid to share our talents with the world, our gifts with the world. And that's my hope. Exactly, Victoria. If you look at a flower, no two petals are ever going to be alike. No two flowers are ever going to be alike. They're all going to be different. And you could do this with so many different colors. I'm using the two shades of blue and the pink and the purple, but man, you could start these do some white in these with the blue. there really is no limit to the colors. You just have to use your imagination. All right, let's go down here. Okay, and I think I'm going to go back in and just add a little bit more of the purple here. And again, we'll be painting on Saturday at 1:30 with Victoria. And if you watch, it'll probably be late Friday. I'll probably put a piece of the painting up, so keep you guessing. And it'll be Saturday at 1:30, and that's Eastern time. Get ready for laughs. Yeah, we always do have fun when we paint together, and I hope we bring that laughter to other people. Okay, so I think I'm happy with my petals. I think they look pretty good. So now what we're going to do is move on to our center. And we're going to use a couple of different colors for our center. If you noticed in here, I have a darker color here around the edge, and that we're going to use a espresso green for around here. And then we're going to use a yellow and a green color. So I want Kimberly, you want to be a special guest sometime. I would love that. We should definitely plan that. You and I will have to get together and we could definitely do that for sure. I would love to have you as a special guest. Okay, so our yellows. All right, so like I said, we're going to use some espresso green. We are going to use an olive green and a sunny day. And this is going to be a process of just getting your petal, your center of your flower. I'm sure there's a technical name for it, but I don't really know. Somebody knows what the center is called on the flower, drop it below so I know. I love flowers, but I don't know their parts or anything. I'm sorry. It's just like birds. I love birds. I love painting birds, but I don't really know all their names. I know a blue jay because obviously they're blue. I know a cardinal because they're red. Probably know, let's see what else I would know. Maybe that's an Oreo because I think they're brown and orange. That's about it. All right, so for the center, I'm going to use a scruffy brush. If you don't have a scruffy brush, feel free to use any kind of brush. You're just going to have to do a pouncing action and you'll get a little bit different look, but that's okay. There's no right or wrong. And you're going to see as the more you paint, the more, can we do a cardinal painting? Yes, Carrie, that would be awesome. I love birds. Sorry. I'm like a squirrel. I see something and then I am off. I apologize. So you're going to see as the more you paint that you are going to get different brushes. Like I know people who say, oh, I'm a big fan of fan brushes, which is exactly what it sounds like, a fan. Looks like this. I'm not a huge fan of this. I don't know why. Maybe down the road I will be, but for right now, I'm really not. My primary favorite brush is a flat brush like this. I think it could do so many things, and it's just what I'm comfortable with. So again, there's lots of different things. And my nose is itchy, sorry. All right, so I dabbed it in a little bit of water, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to do the dark around the edge first. And my thing is pretty dry there, so that's good. So basically all I'm going to do is, if you could see on my palette here, I'm just going into the brown and I'm just getting my brush. And I'm just going to go like this. And you could see I'm going over those petals. And I'm just going to have to go down here on the side, right there. Okay? And that's all I'm doing right there. Then what I'm going to do is just, you could clean your brush. I'm not going to. I'm just going to get a new brush because I have a couple of them. Is now I'm going to do more yellow here and then go down into the green more. So I'm going to take my yellow, same way. And I'm going to go down. And I'm going to do my whole side and bottom with the yellow. So let me just take care of that. I'm going to cover down, and I'm going to do the whole thing yellow, and then we're going to go back in and add the green. And you could see how my brown and yellow are mixing there. That's fine. And I will give you a little bit of warning. If you are doing this on the mixed media pad, it does take a while to dry. So because you don't want it to get muddy, what I'm going to do is tap it with my blow dryer first before I start to layer it, just because I don't want my paint to get muddy. And what I mean by muddy is it just kind of all mixes together and there's no contrast. So this part I want to be able to layer. Carrie said, can you use a round sponge brush for this part? Absolutely, definitely. You could definitely use a sponge brush for this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do with my same brush, I'm going to go into my green and add some green. And I'm just going to go in here like this. And I don't want it too green because then I feel like it gets too dark. So if you could see how I had the darker green at the bottom and yet there's still yellow coming through. And then if you notice on my brush here, there's still yellow in there and there's green. I am doing that on purpose. So I'm taking the yellow, dipping it into the tip and kind of just going like this so that both colors are on there. And then I'm coming in like this and pouncing so that my yellow is staying towards the center, if you could see that. Okay. And this is something that you'll might have to play with a little bit to get it what you're comfortable with how it looks. But I wanted to go gradually into the yellow with just barely any green and brown. How do you think that looks so far? Do you like that? Or do you think it needs to be lighter in areas or darker? Let me know your thoughts. Okay. Patty's saying yes. Do you think it's good, or yes, would you make it darker? If you could clarify for me. I just look at it this way because it's hard for me to see. Okay, doesn't look bad. Okay, yeah. Colleen, who's also my mom, for anybody who doesn't know that, she says it looks beautiful. So it's hard for me to tell being over. That's why a lot of times I'll pull up my thing to see. I don't think it looks bad. I like it the way it is. Okay, I kind of do too, but I wanted to get your thoughts. Okay, so now what we're going to do is do our background. So anywhere where it's white or where I stuck my finger in the blue, in my hand in the blue, we are going to do the background. Now for this, I used a couple of vibrant shades here. I used called Bright Yellow. I used a little bit of terracotta, and I mean, Carrie, you're funny. Terracotta, and I used a little bit of coral. So this is really like your taste, what you like. Again, you can certainly put your own color spin on these things, but from just different pictures and stuff I saw, this is what I liked, the color combination when I practiced. So if you want it more yellow, you're going to want to use more yellow, more orange, you know, a darker background, you could use the more terracotta. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same. My favorite technique for backgrounds is just kind of that little crisscross where the colors kind of all mesh together. Here, if you could see, I kind of did this one out, and you'll see you got to play with it a little bit. When you do it this way, you have to kind of be careful, but we can always come back in and touch up the petals. So for this, I'm going to use a brush about this size. It says 3/4 on there. Again, we're going to get our brush wet. And I'm going to start with the yellow and the coral. I'm just going to come in like this. And when it gets closer to the petal, just going to kind of come up and go next to it, just so I don't ruin my petal. And again, if you do touch the side, you could just always go back with the dark blue paint. It's not a big deal. You can certainly do this and do your background the whole time, like the whole thing, and then go over and paint your flowers. But I just figure like that would waste a lot of paint, so I don't do that. And since supplies are kind of limited these days, I didn't want to do that. You can see I threw some of the dark terracotta in there. And again, I'm not sure if you could see that very well. It's not very dark, just a little bit. And here I'm going to have to, just because I should have, going to have to layer this section a little bit just to cover up that blue dot from my arm. And here I just have a tip. Oops, sorry, I didn't realize you couldn't see that. A tip of the painting there, but you're going to still want to make sure that you get your edge. And if you could see on my thing right here, I had to put a little bit of the background color. So you want to make sure that if it's not meant to be the whole petal, that you're throwing your background color in there. And then I'm going to kind of go back in and add some lighter colors. I just need to let it dry so much. I'm just trying to cover that blue from where I oopsed on there. All right, make sure I get my sides. All right, and let's get this top part. Oops, you can't. You ladies are quiet now. Are you still with me? Let me know. Who's going to try painting this? Let me know. And I say try, and I know you'll all be able to do it. But let me know. I would love to know. Drop me a note below. Victoria's still here. I'm glad, Bee. Patty's still here. Awesome. Okay. So you could see I went over my petals in a couple of spots, which is, again, not a big deal. Is it Brianna or Brianna? You'll be trying this tomorrow. That's awesome. Let me just dry this a little bit so I could show you how to fix any boo-boos. So it's Brianne. Am I correct? And Patty says she will, but she's not sure when. Well, when you do, please make sure you drop that in our group so that I could see. And those for you who don't know what the group is I do have a free community where you could request to join. You do have to answer the 3 questions. Awesome. Thank you, Brianne. You do have to answer the 3 questions to join. So if you don't answer them, unfortunately, you can't be part of the free group. And then you could post your finished pictures in there. And then, of course, their support with each other as far as, any questions and stuff. I don't go in there too much. That's really a group just to share your paintings and stuff that from the tutorials that I do, and to, just be in with like-minded people who are learning to paint or just painting just because they love to. Okay, so you could see any place where I might need to touch up. I just have the dark blue because that's the part that I shaded with. And I'm going to just go back over anywhere where I missed with my... Oh, sorry. I have a frog in my throat. Okay, so I'm just going back anywhere where I may have went over with my background color. And like I said, here I want to go back in with the lighter color because it's a little bit too dark. I'm not sure if you could see that. I put my brush in the water, so just going to come back in. And again, the more you do this, the more texture it's going to have. And sometimes you just need to step back from your painting, whether that means walking out of the room for a little bit. We're usually our own worst enemy. So give yourself some grace and know that you're learning and having fun, and that's what it's all about. And this could be a great stress reliever. I think so. No use getting set up, or no use getting upset over anything. All right, ladies. Well, let me just pull this up for you to see. This is our finished project. I really hope that you ladies enjoyed. Again, if you're watching on the replay, let me know by typing replay below. And if you have any friends who you think might enjoy this, please feel free to sprinkle this with your friends. I appreciate that very much. And I will be back painting with you again on Saturday at 1:30 Central Time or Eastern Time. Woo! Could tell it's 8:30. I'm glad you ladies think it looks beautiful, and I can't wait to see your finished creations. Until then, happy painting!